all the same, let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, to the Venerable Mang Liao Ming, to Master Sakya Zeng Kong, to the 16th Dhamma King Karmapa, and homage to Master Thupten Darji, and homage to the main deity of the group practice tonight, the Jambala, and homage to the three jewels of the altar. So all masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistants, temple directors, all disciples present here and over the webcast, and our guests of honors today. And the diplomat, the wife of the diplomat from Taiwan to United States, Dharma Sister Judy. She's inside the office. And the attorney to the Tribuddha Foundation, Dharma Sister Teresa. And Dr. Zhuang. And Dr. Zhou. And Dharma Brother Gao and Mrs. Gao. As we all know, that Dharma Brother Gao had experienced the great bliss and the son and daughter of the attorney Zhou Huifang, and they said that there's no need to introduce. And also the attorney Zhou, I didn't see that earlier, but now I saw it. And there are many other guests of honors. Thank you for your coming. In Japanese, Tomo konbanwa. In Indonesian, no. Selamat malam. In Indonesian, pagi is morning. Malam. First, let me say that when they introduce the fellow disciples from Calgary, they said Kateng. In Chinese, Calgary is Kateng. And in Taiwanese, it refers to an unclean place. So it is better to say that Calgary, don't say Kateng. Kateng is one of the Chinese pronunciation of Calgary. And second, we have a great referent or Dharma teacher called Lian Hua Yiming from Montreal, and he is in his 90s and he just passed away. and he was cremated. And then they grind all his bones and ashes. And it turned out that his body was filled with sariras. After the ash and the bone was grounded, and they all became round sariras as big as grains of rice. So sariras all over his body, thousands of them. And the last time when he visited to meet Grandmaster, it was at the front door of the tantric quarter. I saw him and tapped on his shoulder, and I told him that you would attain arhatship and there would be lots of miracles and sariras in your body. And so it turned out that after he was being cremated, we found that his body was filled with sariras, thousands of them, that in this modern day is rarely found. So that in our True Buddha school we have a reference that has full body sariras. As we know, Lien Hua Yiming reference did not create speech karma. He never speak of others, never bad mouth others. He lived to be in his 90s, and he also did not create any body karma. And in his mind, he continually recite the root Guru mantra to do the practice and to incant Buddha Amitabha. And he had recited the root Guru mantra for over 8 million times. So his attainment so he should be considered the master of True Buddha school. So he's quite incredible. So he is an old master, Lien Hua Yiming. His name is Lien Hua Yiming, because even in his old age, he attended all of the Kalachakra ceremonies. And he also attended the ceremonies held by the Seattle Lechang Temple, even in his old age. And he did a real practice, and then he had the real attainments, a real signs of his attainments. That these days in this world to find a full body sariras is very, very rare. They do exist, but very few. So when they are like a presser, a press board pressing on his bones, and they found that lots of thousands of sarira pearls. So this shows that True Buddha school is a true Buddha, is a sect with the true Buddha and the true Buddhist teachings. And another thing, when I was in Taiwan, at the Taiwan Lechang Temple, I confirmed a small Rinpoche, and I give him the name of Tupten City Rinpoche. And ever since he was very young, he had a divine eye, and he could observe everything in this world. When he was 3, when he was 3, he could recite the Root Guru mantra and many other mantras and mudras from 3, and then till 9 he did not stop practicing. Every single day he practiced. And his father, Shi Hong Chun, and his mother, Lan Su Zhu, and encourage all his parents to do practice, tantric practice. Prior to the pregnancy, she saw Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva entering into her body, and there was a great difference, age difference between him and his elder sisters. So he was born when they were in college and in high school. So the mother saw Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva entering into her body. They wanted a son, and they asked their master for one. And I told them that they would bear a son, and truly they did. And he is an emanation of Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva. And on his fingers there are wisdom eyes, and at the middle of the palm there is a Dharma boat, Dharma ship, and also a Dharma sconge, which is meaning to give Dharma teaching. So I confirm him to be a emanation, a manifestation of Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva, and his name is Duptan Siddhi Rinpoche, because Siddhigarbha is the Sanskrit name of the Earth Store Bodhisattva, Tijangwa Pusa. So a spiritual cultivator who has attainment in his fruition. So this is the first that is with the true confirmation, a small Rinpoche of True Buddha School. That in the future, when Master Lianning became the second patriarch, this kid would gradually grow up, and we want to teach him all the Buddha Dharma and all the fifth instructions, teaching him how to recite the mantras and the sutras and all the sadhanas and practice procedures, that in the future he would came out to propagate the True Buddha Tantric Dharma of True Buddha School. And this is something that we expect, that we anticipate. That's second and point 3, and the point 4, that Grandmaster and Simu have reached old age, that for public officers they retire at 65, and Grandmaster is almost 70 years old. And near 70, sometimes we don't have good memory, and sometimes we forget what we just eat, and we would ask, have I eaten that? And we forget about a lot of things. We remember things of the past, but things that at the present I forget. Things that Grandmaster that have agreed, sometimes I would forget. So you need to remind me. That after I came back, someone asked Guru Padmasambhava's the wrathful mantra, and I told them that I would tell you after I come back. But after I come back, although I know about this wrathful mantra, but I forgot who asked me for it. So you need to remind me. If you're the one who asked for the wrathful mantra of Guru Padmasambhava, please write a letter, because I forget who that is. So the reason of this is, actually there are no reasons. I heard that the old President Bush, the ex-President Bush, when he passed by the White House, and he took a look and he asked, what is this building? He was the president and he lived there and he forgot about it. So human beings, after reaching a certain age, they start to have memory loss. So didn't I say that when you were at 1, you were born, and at 10 you're in studies, at 20s you're at the top of your youth, and at 30s you're starting your career, at 40s you're starting gaining weight, at 50s you're in middle age, at 60s your blood pressure starting to go up, at 70s you're starting to forget, at 80s you're wobbling when you walk, at 90s you forget about everything. You forget about your name. Sometimes when you go out you can't return. And at 100 you're sitting here among the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. In Chinese it rhymes. And if you don't become Buddhas or Bodhisattvas, you would be hanged on the wall. And it's good enough for your children to hang you on the wall. Your portrait, your picture on the wall. So it's normal to have memory loss. That for human beings at 70, your life just began. It begins to lose your teeth. It's the same with Sakyamuni Buddha. That Sakyamuni Buddha lived to be 80s, in his 80s, and in my memory it still exists. That when the Buddha, in his old age, he looked very old and very tired. So it's normal for Grandmaster to feel that way too. Actually, in the old India, half a year is considered to be 1 year there. Our half a year. So the Buddha perhaps lived to be 60, and at 60 he already looked very old, and Grandmaster now is almost 70, so Grandmaster should look even older than the Buddha. So now we are talking about retirement. So Grandmaster would stop holding ceremonies. Maybe I would just meet disciples for 2 hours a day, and I will not go all over the place anymore. So I'm just waiting for the right time. And the same for Simu. She's also waiting for the right time. She told me that she wanted to retire. And I also feel that I want to retire too. We cannot tell a lie about our age, because the Buddha told us that human life is suffering. You need to observe it as suffering, and you also need to know that it is intrinsically empty. It has no true reality. And next, It is impermanent. What it means is, although today the body seems to be the same, but actually it's changing every single day. And then there's also the change or the impermanence, accidentally or accidental impermanence. So the Buddha wanted us to remember about the suffering, emptiness, impermanence, and no self. No self is very important, because with no self you have no afflictions. Only when you're attached to ego, then you would be afflicted. At dinner I said why the Buddha wanted us to remember about the no self. Because we are constituents, we are made up. We are made up of the 5 elements, the earth, water, fire, wind, and void. When they disintegrate, it would be gone. A lot of things, when they disintegrate, they're gone. Like the master Yiming, when he disintegrates, he's gone. All that's left are the sariras. So he had gained arhatship, the intangible fruition. Oh, he came today. I saw him. Yiming came here today. He came here today. He passed in front of me for 7 times. I saw him passing in front of me back and forth 7 times. And he attained the look of Arhat. Of course, I would not recognize him, but he used the form of his past human body and transformed to become the Jigong, living Buddha. Because Jigong, living Buddha, is an Arhat. And then I saw that he has attained Arhatship. So he passed back and forth, and then he became Jigong, and then I knew that he is an Arhat. This way I would recognize him. If he did not use the form or the look of Yiming and immediately to be the look of Jigong, then I would have thought that that was Jigong that came, but it turned out to be Yiming because he showed the look of Yiming, master. So as one grows older, there's no need to stay permanently in Seattle or stay permanently in Taiwan. Those in Taiwan asked me to stay permanently in Taiwan, and here asked me to permanently stay in Seattle. Of course, each has its benefits. Like Master De Hui said earlier, that Seattle has lots of benefits. Like in Seattle, giving blessings in Taiwan, it takes 1 or 2 hours, and I have to be really fast, both hands, left and right, pictures and everything, all the way for 1 or even 2 hours. Like 20 to 30,000 people. Each ceremonies, there are tens of thousands of people for the Saturday Koma ceremonies. Sometimes there were 30,000 attendants or participants in the ceremony. And here, when I give blessings on the heads, it's very fast. It's less than half an hour. Only a few heads. Of course, there's good and bad. Here in the Western country, they may not understand Buddhism very much, and the propagation of Buddha Dharma is not as fast. Buddhism started from India to China, to the surrounding countries like Afghanistan, Persia at those times, and then to the Utai mountain of China and all over China, to Korea, Japan, and another line to Nepal, from India to Nepal, to Tibet, Bhutan, to Sri Lanka, Sikkim, to Southeast Asia, where Buddhism flourished even more. To the west are fewer Westerners that have heard Buddha Dharma. So there's a difference there. And of course, I'm very glad to see all of you. Thank you. So today I will continue to talk on Hevajra, chapter 42. A true Buddha, a true and a real Buddha. The Buddha, Sakyamuni, teach us that you need to recognize yourself, and you also need to recognize the true reality of the world. So the most important teachings of the Buddha is this. The Tripitaka is tremendous, but the objective is only one, is you need to recognize your own true face and the true reality of the world. Only by recognizing the true reality, you can solve your own afflictions, you can be liberated, gain self-mastery, and to attain Bodhi or Bodhisattvahood. So Bodhi is the fruition in Mahayana, which is Bodhisattvahood, and in Hinayana is Arhatship. And even better if you could be enlightened, to become the enlightened one. And that means you are the true Buddha. If you have gained true enlightenment, then you would be the enlightened one, then you would be a Buddha. Once you gain enlightenment, you would comprehend your own true face and the true reality of the world. And in this book, for the specific details that I did not include, please find a true Vajracharya for a direct verbal instructions that's spoken directly to you. And what I meant by a true Vajracharya is a true and a real Buddha. And a true and real Buddha is the one who could comprehend your true self and the true reality of the world. So a Buddha does not refer just to Sakyamuni Buddha, one person, but it refers to all who are the same as Buddha Sakyamuni, the one who comprehend or truly enlighten to the true self and the true reality of the world. That's a true and real Buddha. Let me share a joke. In a restaurant, there's a client that's drinking the egg flour soup, and then all of a sudden he found that there's a mosquito in the bowl. So he called on the waitress and said, "What happened? There's a mosquito in my bowl." And the waitress said, "You're so small-minded. A mosquito is so small, how much soup can he drink?" So a true face is like this. There's a mosquito inside the soup, you can see it, and that's the true reality. But the waitress did not understand about the true reality. That's why she said, how much soup can a small mosquito drink? It's okay, no big deal. But the true reality is the reality that you see. But then there are a lot of misunderstandings and misperceptions. Like a lot of people misunderstand Buddhism. What is Buddhism? Are those who pray with incense. That's misconception. What is Buddhism? Oh, Buddhism that recite mantras and incant Buddha Amitabha. That's not right. What is Buddhism? Buddhism is those who's reciting sutras, Amitabha sutras, and all kinds of sutras. And discourses, no, that's not it. Buddha Dharma is the teachings of Buddhism is just tools. Please remember this. Buddhist sutras are just tools for you to gain enlightenment. Everything else, offerings, refuge, the four immeasurables, prostrations, those are a part of Buddhism, of Buddha Dharma, and doing all this are just tools, and they are not the true enlightenment and the true attainment. But it could help you to gradually gain enlightenment, to gain true understanding of the mind and see the Buddha nature, for you to gain liberation from afflictions. The true Buddha Dharma is the Ling Shen Ching, the true understanding of the mind and seeing the Buddha nature. And then you would be clear what you are, about what you are. And this is what's important in Buddha Dharma, about the prostrations, offerings, refuge, reciting sutras, reciting mantras, the four immeasurables, performing visualizations. Those are just tools for you to gain enlightenment and to see the Buddha nature. So we cannot be attached in pursuing the tools. No, you cannot miss the objective. You want to become a true and real Buddha. Once you have true realization and awakenings, then you would be a true and real Buddha. So you need to understand this. What is a true and real Buddha? I'd say that I am the true and real Buddha. I am Vajrasattva and I am Hevajra. Because after you gain the true understanding of the mind and see the Buddha nature, you would gain spiritual response with all the deities. Then there no dualism. You are them and they are you. At this time, you are Vajrasattva, the Dharma prince of the Buddhas, and Hevajra, who's transformed from Vajrasattva, you would also gain spiritual response with Hevajra. When you truly comprehend the true reality of yourself and of the whole universe, you gain spiritual response with all the deities. So a perfect Vajra Acharya has a strong faith and conviction. This kind of strong faith and conviction, and he has the ability to bring his disciples to the other shore. And the other shore in Sanskrit is called Mahaprajna Paramita, which means the great wisdom to bring you to the other shore. Prajna Paramita or Prajna Paramita Sutra is the sutra with great wisdom to bring you to the other shore. the most important sutra with the great wisdom to bring you to the other shore, which is also the Diamond Sutra or the Hevajra Sutra. Let me share you another joke. There's a woman passing by a store, and in front of the store there's a parrot that saw her passing by and told her, "You're an ugly woman." She got really angry and left. The second day she passed by the store again, and the parrot said again, "You are an ugly woman." And the woman got angry and told the storekeeper that the parrot said that to her. So the storekeeper hit the parrot. And the third day she passed by the store again and saw the parrot, and she told the parrot, "So how am I?" And the parrot said, "I will not say, you know it." This parrot is really smart. Actually, Buddha Dharma is this way. You need to understand yourself. You need to comprehend yourself. You need to truly realize yourself. Recognize yourself. This is the most important thing about Buddha Dharma. You need to comprehend about the true reality of the world, of the universe. Don't worry what others say, as long as you understand yourself. So beauty and ugliness are opposites, and the true enlightenment have no beauty or ugliness, because enlightenment, or the true understanding of the mind and seeing the Buddha nature, is absolute. There's no relativities. Is there any beauties that do not become ugly? When I was young, I was rather short, but actually I was also quite handsome. When you are old, you cannot say that you're handsome, that you're the cool guy, and they would look at you and like, "You're old, how could you call yourself cool guy?" You can say that you're compassionate, you're kind. That's still acceptable. But if you want to compare with the young cool guy, someone is tall and with a good look and youthful, full of youthfulness, and how could you call yourself the cool and young and handsome guy, right? I can only call myself kind and compassionate. So beauty is not forever. That youthfulness is the capital. So when you're young, of course, you're a beautiful woman or you're a handsome man. When you're no longer young, how can you still be considered beautiful? So youthfulness is an asset. In the past, when I took a look at Shen, where is Shen? She was quite beautiful, but now she looks like a grandma. Today when I saw her, I said, Shen, Erica, how come you become grandma? When she was young, she was beautiful. Now she became grandma. You only saw me starting my middle age. You never saw me in my 20s. So you saw me in my middle age that I have passed my young and handsome man. Even my middle age is passing by. Although now I can still do the double bars, even in my 70s. So this is what the Buddha said, this is impermanence. When there is birth, there must be death. When there is rising, there must be ceasing. When there is youth, there must be old age. This is impermanence, that this is a gradual change, and you need to recognize the true reality of the world and of yourself. This is most important. You cannot just go with the fads. There are two things that's very difficult to change. One is your habits, your habitual tendencies. It's very difficult to change. Second is the norms. It's like the norms. Like when you're born, and then you start to go to school, kindergarten, elementary school, high schools, universities, college, and then the masters, postgraduate schools, This is a system. It's like a normal system. Then you find a job, and then you get married, and then you bear children, and then the system or the norm of the children start, and you yourself gradually age. So that's like the system or the norm of a human life. Sometimes you don't follow that because the system can make you suffer sometimes. You can improvise, you can change, you don't necessarily follow this pattern. You can change the bad habits, and you can also change the bad patterns, and then to become your own life that's wise. So human beings sometimes are being bounded by your own habits and by these patterns. So you need to recognize this. So in Buddha Dharma, this is most important, is to recognize yourself and the true reality or true face of everything. Let me speak this verse one more time. The praise Vajra Acharya, which means the very good Vajra Acharya, attract and guide all cultivators, and the disciples that's following me to study, to learn, holding the big Vajra scepter and Vajra bell. This is the bell. This is the bell. And the big Vajra scepter and Vajra bell, which represent a kind of wisdom, abiding in the big Vajra mandala, the indestructible Vajra mandala. Why is it indestructible? Because you understand, you comprehend. This Vajra, it's a weapon of the Tushita heaven. Because it doesn't matter how you destroy it, it is indestructible. It exists forever, and it cannot be destroyed. It doesn't deteriorate. This is our Buddha nature. You need to comprehend this. So abiding in the indestructible Vajramandala, that's the Buddha nature. Let me share a joke. There's Mr. Wu that had a sore throat and went to the hospital and was told by the doctor that you have inflammation of the thyroids and have them cut off. So he had them taken out, and half a year later he went to the hospital because his stomach ached, and the doctor told him that he had an appendicitis and he had the appendix taken out. And another half a year he went to the hospital, and the doctor asked, what part of your body hurt? And he said, I don't want to tell you because I have a headache. So human's body is like this. It can deteriorate. It can get bad. Only one thing that they cannot go bad, and it always exists, and as we know, is, as the Buddha said, is the Buddha nature. Other than the Buddha nature that exists eternally, everything else can deteriorate. So, is your body yours? Yes, you can say, my body is mine. Is your body really yours? Yes, it is mine. So, if it is yours, those with the frozen shoulders would have this experience. They will not be able to lift their arm up. It would start to be painful when they lift it this much. You cannot even lift your own arm straight. For some people, is your body yours? How come you're in a wheelchair then? If your body is yours, you can tell your body to stand up, but you cannot. How could your body is yours then? Your body is not yours. Something that's even coarse. For the young people, they're waiting hard, and the old men are waiting to be hard. This is rather dirty, but you don't laugh. When you're getting old, a famous author from Taiwan called Li Ao, in 70s, there's no need to go to the nightclubs, to the pornographic stores, because they're not related to you anymore. So is your body yours? A lot of people cannot get up in their 70s. This is for jokes. This is play of words in Chinese. That on your honeymoon night you should be most happy, but he is impotent. And then second, that you meet when you're traveling, you meet someone from the same town. It turned out to be your debtor. That you are appointed for the high officials, but it turned out to be someone with the same name. And then rains after a long drought. It turned out to be just 3 drops. So a lot of good things become bad. human beings are not perfect. So impermanence means ever-changing, including the bodies. In my 70s, I can still do the double bar gymnastics or the single bar gymnastics. So what Liao said did not apply to me. In my 70s, I could still do it because he had cut off his prostate when he was in his 70s. My father, when he was 50, he cut off his prostate glands. Remove. And also, there's a good master who did not have doubts anymore. How about the teeth? Are the teeth yours? You can ask Dr. Zhou. An old man that went to him, most of the teeth are dentures. Very few are real teeth. How could very few people use their own teeth for their whole life? So only the Buddha nature abide in the unchanged, indestructible Vajramandala. How come we have this joke? So since I pick it up, let me say it. In a cannibal country, a tourist entered into a restaurant and saw the menu board said the price. The meat of a minister is $3. The hunter's meat is $4. The boss's meat is $5. Politicians, $25. So the tourists asked the storekeeper, why this meat much more? And the reply was because it's really hard to clean the meat of the politician, because the brain and the schemes are very too much. They fight and they scheme too much. And Buddha nature was intrinsically most pure. It's priceless. It is uncontaminated. And it is also not pure because it's originally pure, so you don't call it pure. Oh, that man was scratching his head. I thought he was lifting his hand to ask a question. Are you a mister? He's scratching his head. Conferring all kinds of secret empowerments through me and gaining attainments due to these empowerments, like the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and great teachers, allowing attainments for the boundless true disciples. In Tantrayana, the secret empowerments has a special blessings, and through the empowerments, you uphold it in your mind, in your heart, and you have very good affinity with the Buddhas, Bodhi, and the great teachers, and to gain attainments. So all of you, after receiving empowerments, you would become the tantrikas of the true Buddha Tantric Dharma, and you become disciples of a true Buddha. So Grandmaster confer empowerments to you, and because I empower using the mind, the Buddha nature, through the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So when you recite their mantras, visualize them and enter into Samadhi, it would be the same as if Grandmaster is the great teacher of Bodhi, Vajra Acharya, and then in the future you would allow attainments for the boundless disciples. It's not chaotic. There's this joke. One afternoon at the office, there's a male colleague that left the office and forgot about the cell phone, and his wife called continually. And there are a lot of other employees taking naps in the office, and there was a female colleague that could not stand it anymore and pick up the cell. What are you doing? We're sleeping. And why are you keep calling? And then turn off the phone. And everybody else woke up and scared for that male employee, because it would be hard for him to explain, because she said that we are sleeping. But Vajra Acharya is very direct. He invoked the Buddhas to bless and empower you and plant the Buddha seeds in your mind, in your hearts. If you cultivate them well, they would sprout, grow, and flower and attain fruition. And then you would gain fruition to become a true disciple. And this is not fake or false, this is truthful. Like that phone is false because there's misunderstanding. But a true Vajra Acharya will not give you any misunderstanding, would guide you until you attain true fruition. That's all for today. Om Mani Padme Hum.